Everyone to Music Junkies, a podcast about people sharing extraordinary stories about how music has impacted their lives.
Rocking and rolling.
Okay. All right. Rock and roll.
Welcome, everyone, to Music Junkies. I am your host, Annette Smith, and today's guest is a producer, songwriter, and video artist. Nicky Click is a physical manifestation of one woman who is focused on capturing, preserving, and making into her songs the experience and the feelings of those who pass through her world. And I love that you give that example. It's such a great example for your music. She's sexy,
Thank you.
funny, she's dreamy, right? Mysterious. Please welcome Nicky Click to the show.
Yeah. Thanks, Annette, for having me. I'm so glad it finally worked out.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you too. What was your experience putting your playlist together for me today?
Okay. Well, so I just picked my top songs that kind of mesh well together for my new album.
I love it. I love it. So tell me a little bit about your new album.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. So tell me a little bit.
Okay. So my new album, Reductive Nostalgia, it's kind of like when I was in the quarantine, I, like many people, tended to glamorize the past, and going into memories and thinking, like when I use the word reductive nostalgia, it was almost like it was so much about the past and thinking about the past. And this first song that you just played is Just Can't Touch Anything. It's the title track. It was the first song, and I had taken a break from music, and I got back into music again during the quarantine. And it's literally about the sensation of not being able to touch anything.
Yeah.
So that's one of the songs from the album.
So what was
called Can't Touch Anything? That doesn't really answer your question though.
It does. It's all good.
Now I'm getting lost. There's the ADD in me.
That's okay. So during COVID, what was
the
biggest struggle during COVID?
Well, I think it was being isolated, and then but also it was kind of cool though, because a lot of artist friends and I getting together and connecting via the web and making music together, making art, having open mics over the web. And I did make this album with a friend in Oregon, and they were the producer, and I would send them and we co-produced over Google Drive,
Okay, so I want to rewind a little bit, Nicky, just where we get all the stories from your song. So great song that we just played, Can't Touch Anything. Can you explain to me where that song came from and, the story behind that song?
Sure. And so that song was sort of like my comeback song. I had taken a little break from music, and I wrote that song during the deep first quarantine of kind of like an OCD type song of like how people were wiping down their groceries. I don't know if you remember.
I do.
Buying wipes to wipe down groceries before you set them down on your kitchen table, and not shaking hands, it really, the social distancing. So that song goes, I just can't touch anything. It's really like that. That's what that song is about.
What was the weirdest thing that you've seen somebody do in COVID?
I remember I was in Baton Rouge on tour, visiting one of my best friends. And this woman had on what appeared to be, and this was before people were wearing masks at all. She had what appeared to be like a steel whole face mask on. And the whole airport was staring at her. It was unreal. I still to this day have never seen anything like it. And I secretly took a picture of her. It was unreal. It was like one of those plastic, the whole face things, but it was like a bronze thing. Yeah, it was unreal. It was something from Star Wars or something like that. Yeah, I understand the paranoia. It's like I think of my parents and them being elderly, and that's my main concern. But It got the most of a lot of it did get people a lot. People didn't know where to stop or start.
I would love to like just go, and I'm sure it's out there, but it would be hilarious to go and like find a site that it says random out of control COVID pictures of what people did. Cause I know for a while that was kind of like streaming all over Instagram. It's like, here's this, person with like a water jug on their head that they've cut out. And here's like, they're all in hazmat suits and gas masks. And it's like, holy cow, what is happening? Like,
And then when people stopped caring and they were using masks on airplanes as like eye masks, what about that?
Yeah.
When people were just like, I don't care anymore. I'll just,
Yeah, it's so hilarious. What can you do though? I love it.
Yeah, people did the best they could.
That's right. The next song that we're going to talk about is Ghost in the Attic. So tell me a little bit about that song.
That is a more personal song. That's sort of this album for sure is very personal. If you listen to my other songs, they're more dancey, catchy, like politics with a beat. This song is really and this whole album is my really opening up and telling my true heart story. Reductive Nostalgia is the name. And it is my song. It's a nod to the Me Too movement. And it is my story of being a survivor.
Did you want to share your story a little bit?
I am a childhood survivor of abuse.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what more I can really say, but that I survived it, and I'm here to tell the story. And I think that by telling that story, I think it can empower other people to come out and share their story.
Absolutely. What did you think when the Me Too movement first came out?
I thought it was pretty incredible. What about you?
Shocked? Like, were you shocked how many people had a story to share that they never shared before?
No, because I've always been, like in college, I ran the women's center. I've always been a very big feminist. I've always known the statistics of rape and molestation, 1 in 3.
Yeah.
So I've always known if I'm in a group of people, and I've always been pretty open about my abuse that I've suffered and endured. So other people have told me, so it's never been any secret.
Yeah.
And it's just like, let's talk about it, let's share. And I think that begins a healing process. But no, it never was a surprise. And to people who it's a surprise, I'm just like, what? Yeah, I think it's a different generation that it's a surprise to. Like, it's like my parents' generation that they're in the dark too.
Yeah, I agree. I think it probably should have came out years ago. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
this movement should have started years ago.
Yeah, it was happening. It just wasn't talked about.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it just kind of set women up, and not just women, but men up too, in an era where it was like, okay, we need to start talking about this because nothing is going to get resolved if we don't start this movement and start talking about it. So I absolutely loved it. I thought it was courageous of all these people sharing their stories. It is such a hard thing to share. So, it's incredible that people went and shared their stories live on the internet, not just like friends and family, but complete strangers, which is probably easier to do anyways with strangers than people that you love, right? For whatever reason, you can sit down on a park bench and sit down and tell somebody your whole story. And you're just like, okay, well, it was nice meeting you.
Why is that?
I don't know. Maybe there is no attachment. There's no judgment. You have no idea who they're going to tell. I don't know. Maybe it's that safe space. Sometimes you just with people that like that as well.
Yeah, I do agree with that though. Yeah, my family wasn't too pleased, but I think they understood that I had to work through it, and that music and art has always been a platform, and that the political is the personal.
Yeah. So when did you start? Like, what did you play an instrument when you were growing up? Did you just sing in a choir when you were growing up?
I mean, I've always been like a Miss Piggy type character. I did ballet, I did jazz. I did try different instruments, but I tried violin. Um, it wasn't really until I was in my 20s that I got into electronic music programming and like synthesizers and stuff like that, I got into that and recording on computers and stuff like that. So
So do you
yeah,
really like the 80s?
like I
The,
mean, I was like the 80s, like culture,
like just the
fashion.
music, the culture, like, are you
Yeah,
80s?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I was born in the 80s, but I would say I'm more drawn towards like the music, culture, and kind of like the electro movement of like the like 2000s.
Yeah.
That's sort of where I'm stuck in still.
So let's take on a front man from the 80s and a front man or front woman from the 2000s. Who'd you like to be for a week if you could?
Oh my God. Okay. Let's say like, oh my God, I have all my notes inside. All right. Well, I mean, there's definitely like, bands like I mean, obviously there's like Bikini Kill or like and then there's like, well, Kathleen Hanna and like the whole Riot Girl movement, and then there's like the whole like, Susie Sue or like pop punk, and then, things like that.
Yeah,
Those are bands I'm drawn to.
I love it. Is there anybody like right now, if you could collaborate with anybody in the world right now, who would you collaborate?
Oh my God. Well, I mean, I've had some dream collaborations. I just got to collaborate with Melissa Logan from Vucha, who's also in a band called Chicks on Speed. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
No,
They're
I
from
haven't.
um yeah, they're from Germany. I just got to go to South by South and West in Austin this past month. And yeah, we're doing a 7-inch together on the label I'm on, Disc Drive Records in Seattle. And yeah, that's kind of a dream because I saw them perform in Boston when I was in 19. And I just was like, I think this is what I'm supposed to do.
I love
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I already knew like I was headed towards there, but you see things and it's possible and you feel drawn towards it. But a dream, I mean, that's a dream collaboration, but even dreamier, like, I'd have to say like, hmm, I might have to keep thinking and return to that
Okay.
question.
Okay, sure.
What about you? I'm curious for you. What's your
Well,
dream?
I am an all over the place kind of person, right? I'm not a singer, so like that would be weird for me, but I would definitely like to sit down with Tommy Lee and play some drums with him for sure because I'm a drummer.
Okay, you're a drummer.
Yeah, so I like to do that kind of stuff. Not a singer. I think I am.
Cool.
I'm an amazing singer. No, I don't. But hey, I'm still not going to stop singing just because I'm not an amazing singer.
You don't need permission.
That's right. I love your next song that we're going to talk about. It's called Gone Fishing. So tell me a little bit about that.
Okay.
And that story behind it.
Yeah. I wrote that song. That was like a kind of like a recycled song because I wrote that song a while ago, and then I was like, oh, I like these lyrics still. I wrote the verse and then I was like, ooh, I think this is actually a love song. I rewrote the verses, and that song is about like kind of like the idea of I'm trying to hold this really still. Um, like taking a chance on love.
Yeah.
Going fishing is going out for love, taking like, literally putting out your pole and seeing what you find.
So
Like I went fishing and
now?
see what
Are you in a relationship now?
I am. Yeah.
Okay. So tell me how you met your partner.
On the road touring. We actually met each other several times over the last 10 years. But we were both always in relationships, so it was never the right time. And then finally it was the right time.
Nice.
Yeah, we're gonna be together 8 years soon.
Oh my goodness. Good for you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
What's
very
the most romantic thing they've ever did for you?
I would say like just, like driving overnight to come see me or something like that. Because we used to live pretty far apart. Like that, many romantic things. I wouldn't even know where to pick. But I mean, like they have my name tattooed on them and stuff like that.
Oh, their name tattooed on you. I had
You
that,
know.
and we broke up, and then I was like, when are you gonna get that tattoo?
Oh, yeah. You do love it. I mean, to me, that's the ultimate romantic thing,
Yeah,
till the
isn't it?
end.
Till the end. So do you remember the very first album or CD you bought on your own with your own money?
Yes. It was Sonic Youth, and it was Goo.
Oh, wow.
Are you familiar with that album?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. I
Interesting.
like, yeah.
What
Yeah.
were
There was like
you?
this used. Oh no, I hope we don't lose each other again.
No, we're good. I can hear you.
I don't know why I'm having weird. Oh, all right. Okay, cool. I'll roll with it. Um, I was just, I mean, I had heard that they were cool. Oh, and I also bought the Breeders. Um, what was the name of the album? It had Cannonball on it. So what was the name of that album? I can't remember. That was like their hit album, right? So I can't remember the name of it, but it was the Breeders.
Yeah.
And I still love both of those bands. So I was into grunge. Um,
Was that
and
kind
that was in
of your
eighth
high
grade. I
school?
had my first CD player.
Your high school
Eighth
days?
grade. I had my
Eighth grade.
eighth grade. I had my first CD player, and I would light my incense and my candles, and I had a little hammock, a
Nice.
sitting hammock in my room. I mean, I was obsessed with music. Oh yeah.
When you were growing up in high school, what you were into grunge? What was some of the challenges that you went through in high school?
I mean, I definitely felt like an outcast.
Yeah.
Was bullied.
Why did you feel like you're an outcast?
Well, I mean, I was a lesbian, and I am a lesbian. Um, and there was no one else that I knew that was. I had a shaved head. I had piercings.
Okay.
Um, that just was not happening at all in my high school. Um, and I mean, I don't know if it was a self-alienation thing but I just could not relate, to the jocks and um the scene that was happening. There was just no art. There was no art class. It was a time where there was no like LGBTQ clubs at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
So, but I think that that was meant to be because I really did find my home in music and art and writing.
Yeah.
And, so
Were you writing a lot in high school about kind of your struggles and stuff like that, not really knowing that these would later on turn into songs?
I didn't know then, but I know that they did now create the person that I am now. I mean, I think that makes you tough.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm also a painter and a sculptor, and I'm creating my own Oracle tarot deck now. I'm illustrating it, 52 cards. I've been
Wow,
working 2 years, so
that's
um,
amazing.
yeah, thank you. So hopefully we can get through this interview. I'm so sorry. I don't know why it's not working, but
It's all good.
um,
We'll piece it all together.
yeah, I really apologize. Um, but yeah, that's what I started doing. So all of these became, things that were coping mechanisms for all of that. And that's who I became now. And that's why I think I have a need to reach out to people and have music be my torch and write songs about depression, mental health, being a survivor, all of those things, and to share that and to help other people and to use that platform, for political awareness.
Yeah. What was your experience coming out to your parents? Was that a challenge for you at all?
Yeah, It was. And I think the reason it was is that I was a teenager and I knew so young. And I just didn't want to say I, I'm a sexual person.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to say that at 13, 14 when you're not even thinking about having sex yet. I think that's what it was for me, is
Yeah.
I just felt comfortable talking about sex. That dialogue hadn't been opened yet.
Yeah.
So, um, actually, my dad said he found out for sure on my website when
Oh,
I
how
was.
can you find out on your website?
I feel so bad about it in the end. Now we're so open about it, and it's just whatever. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of a guessing. Like I felt like it was so obvious, but I guess it wasn't. I think it was just sort of like I thought it was very obvious, but I guess I should have just come out and said so. I think it was just so unspoken for so long that it became hard to say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just
Makes
wasn't.
it probably harder too, right? Because you want to share this, and then it's just like any conversation you want to go have with anybody. The longer you put it off, the more daunting it is, and the more you're in your head about it. And
Yeah,
the time you finally get it off your chest, it's this big ball of yarn, and it's
yeah, secret.
yeah, big secret.
Hmm.
So your next song, I Tried So Hard. Tell me a little bit about that song, where it came from.
Maybe we should, that's was sort of like a more of a Me Too. That's in the same one. So if you wanted to, that is sort of, we can talk a little bit about that too. I don't want to like be too redundant, but
It's all good.
that was sort of along the same lines as the line goes, I tried so hard to forget that I actually did. And I think that was like, as an adult in therapy, I think memories started to come back to me of my abuse that I went through. And I think that's common for many survivors.
Yeah, I think it is very common. I love the fact that you reached out for help, though. A lot of people do not go and reach out for help, and they struggle through this on their own, and then they do become very depressed. And depression leads to so many other things.
Yeah.
And now again, you're struggling with these demons that nobody knows, and nobody knows how to help you because they don't know what's going on because you're sharing.
Yeah, it's so sad that, like the you know, homelessness is just really huge around survivors and people who have mental health problems and domestic violence. And I mean, it's all based around a lot of that. People who don't have resources. I'm lucky I had the resources for therapy.
Yeah. So I want to change subject a little bit. Do you remember your very first concert you've been to?
First concert.
Yeah.
I think it was Ani DeFranco.
Oh, wow.
That's very lesbian. And I remember, I think God bless him. I think my dad took me.
Good for him. That's awesome.
Like he must know, but it was like all of these gay things we did that were like, and said he didn't know. But I remember there was this sign that said like Lisa and Candy or something like that and a heart around it. And I was like, oh my God, does that mean they must be? And I'm so, oh my goodness, wow. And it's just like, wow. And then I saw Tori Amos a couple times. I saw Sarah McLachlan. A lot of women artists. I was very into the whole like Lilith Fest, white women, that whole thing. Yeah.
Did you
But
have
it
any
was
crushes? Any female crushes on some artists?
who did I'm sure I was in love with Tori Amos. I'm sure I still am. I mean, proficient. How many albums has she put out now? Who knows?
Who
Probably
knows?
like I mean, she's just such a gorgeous artist inside and out. I don't know if you're a fan at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Have you, if you had to create an alter ego for yourself, who would it be and what would be the name of that alter ego?
Well, I have created alter egos.
Yeah.
I don't perform them as much, but I used to talk about them a lot. There was Petunia Pie, there was Plum Precious. Petunia Pie was like more of the painter. Plum Precious was like a more of the outgoing character. Who else was there? We could create a new one right now. Let's see, like how about like skeletal skid Nancy or something. I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
You need to create one for me. Create
I'll create
one for me.
okay, how about musical, moody musical? No, I don't think you're moody. I think you seem really actually very like fucking cool. And I don't know if we can swear on this, but
You
no,
can
you
swear
really
all you want.
you're really like a jazzy, interesting person. I'm really enjoying this interview.
Good.
How have you been doing this for?
A year and a half.
Really? I was
Yeah.
watching a lot of your interviews and you seem very proficient.
Oh,
Like
thanks.
doing
Appreciate
this
it.
for a while, and that's so super cool.
Yeah, I love it. I love meeting new people. I love sharing, artists, not just artists, like anybody that has a playlist that wants to share. I just love the concept of it. And
Yeah.
I love getting to know somebody. I feel when I interview somebody, I feel like we've had a relationship for 15 years after 10 songs. Do you know
Yeah.
what I'm condensing our relationship? And even when I've interviewed friends of mine that I've had for 20, 30 years, it's like, holy, I knew some of that stuff, but not all of it.
Yeah.
And I just love the connection I get with people. I just, that's
Really.
so
My favorite thing, and I was just searching for a word. You don't come across as moody. I was just like coming up, searching for dramatic words. But my favorite thing is like I would love being stuck in a long road trip with somebody and being like, okay, bring on your songs.
yeah, me too.
Play your favorite songs for me. That's a fun thing.
Yeah, and you can really find out a person when you listen. I can always tell how the interview is going to go on the playlist. I really can. I'm always like, okay, this person's kind of shy, or I'm going to have to pull something out of them, or you know what I mean? Or they just want to, be on here to promote their own. Like I can just tell just from their playlist.
Interesting.
Interact in the
Yeah.
very 15, 20 minutes, right? So
Yeah.
I love that. And I was excited to have you on the show. I think that you are so you're like me. You're like edgy and open and you're gorgeous.
Real human interaction, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like some people are just not, they don't want to go there.
Yeah, I know. I hate that. I hate when I have people on my show, and I know hate's a strong word. I hate that I have people, I've only had 2 of them on the show that are like one-worded answers. And you're like, dude, you asked me to be on here. I didn't ask you to be on here.
Yeah.
Right. And if you want to be an artist, you better get really good at interviews, especially if you want to be a famous artist. Like you're gonna have to up your game here. I'm not even a singer-songwriter, and I know that. Like you're gonna have to sign stuff, you're gonna have to interact with people. This is a cool thing. Stop sitting in the dark. Like what's happening? This is weird. Right? I don't condone
thing to Weezer with the incense are over.
That's right.
That's the third. I'm remembering that's the third album I bought. It was the Breeders, Sonic Youth, and Weezer, the Blue album. Remember the Epic Blue album?
I do.
Of the 90s grunge. I mean, I can get stuck in certain times, and it's funny because my partner is really stuck in a certain time of music.
What time is she stuck in?
They go by they. They're stuck in really like a Riot Girl time of like Tracy and the Politics and Le Tigre, but then also like they really like The Cure and just different eras. But I think they're stuck in different times of like that are connected to different times. They'll reach for Cat Power or I mean maybe it's I think it's more personal to like different times of their life, but they love they also really like the Lunatics still a lot. I mean, I don't know. That's kind of besides the point, but
I love it. So tell me a little bit about Life Cycle, your song Life Cycle.
Okay, so that is sort of a nod to like mental health, and how we stretch people to just go too far in life. That is the life cycle of, I mean, I think it's kind of about people being bipolar. I'm bipolar. So it goes, the higher you go, the further you come down. It's about mood disorders. And I just think I mean, it really, I'm just being very open and transparent in this album.
Good, I love it. What is
Yeah,
something that you're very conscious about that you wish that you weren't?
that I'm very wet.
Self-conscious about.
Um, I hmm. I mean, I think that I have my insecurities like everybody. Um, I think I try very hard to not say that I have insecurities.
I think we all do.
Yeah, I think I act like I'm real tough, but I don't know that I am as tough as I actually am. Maybe I'm tough about people thinking I don't have insecurities.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've had a lot of stalkers.
You have?
Stalkers, yeah. So I've been cyber stalked a bunch in the last few years.
Wow. Can you tell me a
That's
stalking story?
I don't really want to get too into it because it seems to make the incidences worse.
Oh, does it?
Want to talk about it publicly, but it is something I endure, and I know it's horrible. It's like a huge invasion of my privacy. Um, yeah, it's really bad.
That's not.
Whoever these people are want me to stop what I'm doing at any length. But I don't stop. But yeah, that is my biggest insecurity.
Yeah, for sure. So I know that you have toured all over the place and performed. What has been one of the most incredible audiences? And yes, I know most of them are going to be incredible, but what audience really, or what stage did you go on that was the most memorable for you so far in your career?
Okay, about this. I played a really great stage in Amsterdam, which of course you would imagine would be amazing. Um, I remember I had like a pony costume on. I had like like a tail, an actual like tail. I'll try and put on my sorry. I was trying to put on focus. Um, yeah, I just felt like the crowd and I were one.
Yeah,
I really did.
good.
And I felt very supported and just cheers and claps, and yeah, it was just a great experience.
Do you
That
remember?
was S10.
Oh, okay. Do you remember
Yeah,
the time when
10
you were
anniversary.
singing on stage and the crowd was singing with you? Like, do you remember the first time watching somebody singing your songs? Do you remember the feeling that you had?
Yeah, I don't remember if it was the first time, but I do remember times, and I was just blown away. I'm like, do people really care that much? Yes.
That's gotta be a crazy feeling, like looking out to the crowd and seeing a bunch of people singing with you, like you could
Yeah, it is a
there,
crazy
you
experience.
know? Yeah,
It's so validating.
yeah.
It's just it makes you feel good, and it's the kind of thing where you're like, here, have a free CD. Like,
What's
here's a
the
hug.
weirdest thing you've ever signed by a fan?
I'm sure I've signed, you know, breasts, or I mean, I don't know, arms. People. I mean, yeah, beyond CD. Yeah, I just said it, so that's what it is.
Yeah. Do you get lots of flashing? Lots of girls and guys flashing when you're on stage?
Sometimes
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it.
more in Europe than in the States. People are, a little bit more.
Conservative.
Yes, because you can get arrested for that, obviously.
All right, your next song, Memories Long Ago. Tell me a little bit about that song.
Yeah, so this is a song kind of like a romance song. It's about really that content place that you have, like at the end of the night when everything is said and done, you've like, there's nothing you can do. You're just gonna go to sleep. And you're content with your boo. And you're just gonna hold each other and go to sleep.
That's probably the best feeling in the planet.
I know, right? And there's like a line in it, it's just like the only safety I feel is when the lights are out and I'm holding you tight. And that's just like it. And I wrote that about my partner.
Aw.
Yeah. And I
Aw.
just, it just describes like that moment where you, right before you fall asleep, where you're like, well, there's nothing else I can do today. The day's over. I give up. Not like I give up, but I give in.
Serenity.
Yeah, like serenity. The lights are off. My cat's here. My dog's here. I can't do the taxes if they didn't get done today. Whatever. Like we're here. We're in the present. Good night.
I love it.
So it is.
So do you have any crazy rituals before your set that you have to perform? Do you need quiet? Do you want to get a little rowdy backstage?
I definitely have like these little like honey lozengers I use for my voice.
Okay.
I do like to have tea or water. I do like to jump up, I like to I like to jump around with friends and stuff like that. I mean, it's kind of hard to like go do a, big a 40-minute jump around performance and be very entertaining and fun. I mean, even though it sounds like my song, I mean, I realize that it sounds like all my songs are kind of depressing from this interview. They are very up. My mission is to make people dance while thinking about deep things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So when people hear it, they will understand what I'm saying. So I'm dancing and provoking politics,
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, I do try to either dance to the openers and I always try to be supportive to whoever else is performing. So maybe I'm out dancing to the openers, or just sometimes I'll put on music on my iPod, or who would I even listen to? Let's see. I don't know, whatever pop music is on, really. Whatever's popular. I like top 40s music.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of wardrobe changes?
Costume changes?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I have like different layers of things I take off. Sometimes I rip off my wig. It's always sorry, it's always very sporadic. I never know what I'm gonna do, really.
I love that. That's good. So when people see you, they don't know what to expect.
Exactly.
Those are the best kind of concerts to go to, because I don't want to go and go and see you in LA and then I'm following you around and it's the same show over and over and over again. And
Right.
I follow you for a while. It's like, no, I'm gonna go see you again because the last show was completely different than the last show, and I love that.
Right.
So I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I always have a trash bag of costumes I'm carrying around. It's always a different look every night. I mean, although I did wake up this way today, it is always a different look every night, and sometimes I have, things I throw out in the crowd, and, I always try to connect with people and stay around after the show and meet people. And that's my biggest, I want to connect with people.
Good. I love that. Tell me a little bit about Out to Lunch.
Okay. Out to Lunch is sort of this thing about like people that are like adults that feel like they had to grow up, but need to, I don't know. It's sort of like, it's like, have you ever heard the phrase two sandwiches short of a picnic?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Well, so it's like, yeah, I mean, I think it's like somebody who feels like they're like a failing artist, but like to say like you're really making it, like you're doing it. Like you're not failing. Like it's a camaraderie theme song for people. It's like an encouragement song.
I like that.
For people who are like may feel like they're outcasts or something, to like say you're really making it. You're not like you're not.
You say you're failing if you are doing something that you love. I think the only reason why people think they're failing is they don't have enough likes or they don't have enough like it's so ridiculous. It's like,
That's not a signifier.
yeah, at all, right? You can
Yeah,
be a total douchebag with 1 million followers. Do you know what
exactly. I know.
I
Yeah, I know. Believe me, I think about these things all the time. I'm like, you probably bought your followers. So, anyways,
Exactly, right?
yeah,
You have 55 people you're following, but you have 9,000 followers. Like, what's going on here? Like, it's not,
there's some weird algorithm going on
yeah,
there for sure.
there's something weird going on there too. Do you have any guilty pleasures or any pet peeves, things that drive you absolutely up the wall that people do?
Gosh. Wow, this is real honesty here. Woo. Um, Guilty pleasures. I mean, I would say I'm a pretty big supporter of a 420 lifestyle.
Okay. And then how about pet peeves?
I know that but I don't feel guilty about it.
No, you shouldn't,
Yeah.
right? You have to embrace yourself, right? You have nobody else to impress but you.
Yeah. I mean, I find that it's very good for anxiety, relaxation, end of the day stress type stuff like that, getting
Yeah.
into. I also find it very good for getting into a mode of creativity,
Me too.
songwriting.
Some gummies last night and I feel great today, right?
Okay. Well, maybe
Right?
someday we
I didn't
need
have to
it.
drink wine. I didn't have to drink vodka. It was perfect. It's awesome. I felt a little bit weird because my daughter was there, but she's over
Ugh,
25, right? So I'm like,
I love it.
I'm gonna take this gummy. Is that bother you? She's like, no. And I'm like, I just want to chill out and watch movies with you all day. Is that cool? She's like, let's do it. No, she didn't do it with me. No.
Oh, come on. I would love to do that with my mom.
She has before, but not this time.
I would be like, you got to.
That's right. So what about your pet peeves, things that drive you absolutely
Um,
the wall?
I mean, I feel like ignorance is pretty, and
Yes.
racism, sexism, all of those isms. Yeah, drive me nuts. Any kind of ignorance, people that just cannot, conservatism, people that just cannot try to get with the program and, just like get with some knowledge and try and, yeah, just try and like read up on some things and try and learn
Understand.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a huge believer in that.
Privilege. I mean, I'm white, but I really try to look at my oppression. Not in the ways that I'm oppressed, the ways I oppress others, and the ways that I've learned to, um, the ways that I've grown up, and the ways that I have internalized racism and stuff like that. So
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your song Robot.
okay, that song I wrote with my niece, and it is about like love and kind of like going from like an icy stage of being like yeah, like it's like when you saw me I was a robot with no feelings, so you're like this person that's like really like covered up and like unable to show your feelings, and then someone helps you open up, and then you start from the beginning. But it actually is, the true story though is it's actually about our cats.
Oh.
The chorus is sort of like a little bit different, but then the verses we wrote both about our cats. So
I love it.
yeah, we both wrote it about feeling like we capsize our cats by keeping them. I wrote it by feeling like I keep my cat inside for myself. That I should like really learn to like, I mean, I don't want to have my cat be an outside cat because I want it for myself. So
My dog
when someone listens to
really
it, they
like
may. Yeah, you have a cat too?
No, I don't have I have a dog, but I cannot do a podcast. Like if I even say I'm going to go do a podcast, he's like, I'm coming with you on this podcast. And so he lays in the studio and just like grinds me. I feel like he just stares at me the whole time that I'm on he just wants to be a part of it. I don't know why. He just, just like
I had my dog in the crate, and when I was
getting ready to, yeah, I mean, I had to situate all my animals and be like,
Yeah.
shh, come on, mommy's going to be doing the thing. And
I love it.
they all want to be a part of it, you know?
That's
So,
right. Do you have a go-to karaoke song?
Yes, it is. It is either Miley Cyrus. Oh wait, no. It's okay, it's either Black Eyed Peas, Can You Meet Me Halfway, or what was the other one? Yeah, that song. I always try to be really well prepared because I want to sound good. Or it is, what's that other song? I guess I don't have a other go-to one because I can't remember what it's called. It's been a while since I've done karaoke. What's your go-to karaoke song?
Oh, I don't do karaoke.
Don't. Why not?
I don't think so. No. Like if somebody wants to go do a song with me, I'll go sing up there, but I don't generally go to karaoke bars that much.
I don't go to bars anymore either. I've been sober for more than 10 years, but I mean, I told you about the 420 thing, but I don't drink alcohol, so I don't like being in bars.
Yeah.
But I do like this song. Oh gosh, I'll have to get back.
Well, if you remember it, you can tell me it again.
Oh, well, it's a Miley Cyrus song.
Is it like Wrecking Ball?
Any of Miley Cyrus's song I'll sing because I can sing in her voice. But yeah, any of her songs.
So obviously you have costumes. What's the strangest thing you've ever bought? Like you just had to buy it. You're like, no matter what, I'm buying this.
Probably like rubber masks that I've done. I've done a lot of like with other directors in the past. I've done some weird rubber masks that we've used in music videos.
Yeah. What's your favorite part of making a music video? Like, what do you love about making your music video?
I think really getting into character, just being on the set, being in it, really truly getting into character and just like living the song, really being like, wow, I did this. I'm going to really get into it. It's a full day, sometimes 2-day thing. I think I like being the center of attention for that. That's fun. I truly, I mean, I'm an actor. I like to perform it.
Yeah. Do you know going in when you make a music video, do you know going in like exactly like kind of the thought process, or are you have like outside influences that are like, oh, hey, we should do this? Or are you like, nope, we're doing this no matter what, this is what I want?
I would say most of the time it's pretty storyboarded out. But then sometimes, you know, like last time we did a video with Disc Drive in Seattle, it was curated by Nick, the owner. We met some random people just on the street and we just popped them in the video.
That's
so there's
awesome.
always room for extra narration.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm open to that. And I think that's what creates the extra fun when it's not so rigid.
Yeah, I agree. And if it's random, you know, like I interviewed this band called Calling All Captains, and they're a punk band. And this one guy in like literally just about every single vehicle or video, he had a teacup, right? He just held a teacup.
Wow.
Interesting. So when I had them on the show, I was like, what's up with the teacup?
Right.
That's awesome. Somebody actually like seen that. That's crazy that you like seen that in and out for all the music videos. And they were really just seeing if they just kind of tried it once and they thought it was funny and just kind of continued to do it. And they kind of elaborate the teacup throughout the thing, like a tea set on stage. And so I think it's like being just creative and seeing if your fans can pick up on that stuff. I love that.
Yeah, I've enjoyed bringing many of my friends into the videos, and even my partner has stepped into the videos some. And
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, in disguise, and yeah, it's such a creative, fun process.
Yeah,
and I love different directors into it and stuff like that. So
yeah, that's really cool. Share a little bit of the story behind the song Snap.
Okay, Snap is really a dance anthem. I want it to be like a new Cupid shuffle at weddings, something like that. It has directions for dance moves within the song.
Oh, I like
it's a really easy dance move song though. It just goes left foot, right foot, let's go out. And it's just like left, right. It's, you know, I try to like stop the music before the song comes on, and just give directions for how to do it, and then I have the whole audience do it with me. It's kind of, I think it's inspired by my love for the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah.
Are you a fan?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Another thing we share.
I love it.
And put your claws out, or whatever what do they say? They were comparing it to Jaws back in the day. A whole new claws or jaws or whatever they said. But yeah, I mean, so it's like the time warp kind of, it's fun like that.
So you
It's
just
like,
mentioned the Rocky Horror, I love that show. So if we think of a movie, I want you to think of a movie, and then I want you to think of a soundtrack. What is like your favorite soundtrack from a movie?
I also really like Hedwig and the Angry Itch. Have you ever heard that? John
No.
Cameron Mitchell. You should look that up. It's a
I'm gonna look
really
it up.
cool soundtrack. I
Okay.
do like rock horror for fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna say at this moment today, at this very time, that I feel that way, but I couldn't pick. But I love Hedwig and the Angry Itch by John Cameron Mitchell.
I'm gonna check it out. So what do you got coming up, Nikki? Are you touring right now? Or are you like, what's kind of going on in your realm right now?
Well, I just recorded an EP about 6 weeks ago in Atlanta with the Kin Factory, and it's
Wow.
IQ. That's their name, is IQ, and in the Kin Factory, and it's gonna come out probably in the next year. We don't have a release date yet, but they're mixing it.
Exciting.
It's a lot of awesome. It's kind of like more like even like more a hip hop sound, kind of
Oh, fun.
like R&B type hip hop with like
Yeah.
electro kind of like vocal, like my kind of like vocal, like delivery.
Yeah, I like that. And
Yeah.
where can we find you on social media? What, like all that kind of like throwing out the red carpet for you.
Sure. Thanks for asking. NickyClick.art, and then you go there and you can just find me everywhere. But I'm also at Nicky Click Art on Instagram, Nicky Click Art on Facebook.
I love it. So
Yeah.
where did the name Nicky Click come from?
Where did the name Nicky? Now
Yeah.
I actually was thinking what would be a good story to tell you, Annette, and this is hysterical. I think I was like around 22 or 23, and I'm almost 43. So just to put it all in perspective, I answered the phone. I had just started performing. Well, no, I think I had 0 songs, but I was just like angry, and I answered the phone. living in the Pacific Northwest in Washington State. I answered the phone, and my roommate's friend said, "Hey, baby, can you put my friend on the phone?" I said, "Don't call me baby." Click, and click, and I have a song called "Don't Call Me Baby." That was my first song, and then I just became Nicky Click after that.
Crazy.
Yeah, and that was my first single, was "Don't Call Me Baby," and I became Nicky Click.
I love it.
I got named it, if I named myself, but that's kind of like was me, and that was what happened.
Yeah,
like an era. Yeah.
So we're down to your last song, and it's Teenage Lifestyle. Tell me a little bit about that song.
Yeah, we just put out a whole remix album of that song. It really took off so well. That is like kind of just about growing up. It's about like an end of it's an end of an era. And I do think it is about kind of like about coming out of the quarantine, about how we kind of like reiterated ourselves, like, but it also is about, leaving 30s, growing up. Yeah, I do think it is about that. I think it's about just taking more responsibility in life, taking more accountability, all of that.
Which I think people need to do for sure.
Yeah.
We're living a really, really lazy world right now, I tell you.
And it does say like
how I feel, right? I feel like it's like, come on, where's your drive? Where's your motivation? What's
a lot of adults that haven't gone there yet. And I do believe I didn't want to go there for a while. It was kind of a song I talked about, like sobering up, like growing up, all of that. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's a big tell-all album. I don't know what else to say.
I love it. I love it. And our listeners are going to love it.
Thank you so much for interviewing me.
You're welcome. I'm so happy to have you on finally on Music Junkies. I absolutely love you. Please like, subscribe, follow Nicky Click. I will give you all her socials so you can go find her wherever you want to go and find her. But before I let you go, one last question. I want you to leave us with some words of wisdom.
Okay. I'll try.
You can do it. I know you can.
Okay. Oh, just words of wisdom in general.
Yeah.
Okay. I would just say, just believe in yourself. Like, no matter where you are, what stage you are in your life, like, just always like remember who you are and love yourself. Just love yourself, because you cannot wait for anybody else to love you. Gotta just love yourself. Love yourself.
Yeah, that's beautiful words of wisdom. And I agree 1,000%, right? The only person that matters is yourself, right? You can't go and love to anybody else unless you love yourself. So amazing words of wisdom, Nikki. I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you so much for being here on Music Junkies.